You would never go to a home builder and say, best home builder out there. You would never go to a home builder and say, hey, would you build me a nice house? That house builder can't build you the house. With 180 of us in this room, all are going to have a different idea of what a great house would be, what a nice house would be. Do you want a tiny home? Do you want a condo downtown? Do you want to live on an acreage or in the suburbs? Do you want a bungalow, a two-story? We would never go to a home builder and expect them to be able to build us a nice house. But so often we go to life and we say, I just want to be happy. Just want a nice life. But we don't define it. We know that if we want a house that we're in love with, we've got to create blueprints that we're in love with. Jeff and I were building our dream home in 2008, 2009. We started that process and we went to one architect and we were doing the on the napkin thing. Here's what we're thinking and here's what we want. And I sent her away and she came back with the first draft of the blueprint. And she set these blueprints down and she says, I don't know why anybody would want a house this big. And it was just nothing like what we wanted. We were disappointed with the drawings and she was critical of it and we fired her. And we found somebody else that sat down with us and asked better questions. And what would you like that to look like? And what do you want that to feel like? And what view do you want to wake up to in the morning? And how big do you want your walk-in closet? You can design it any way you want. You have been given this blank slate. You can be, do, have whatever you want. But in the absence of giving it a blueprint, a design, we're living by default. Nod your head if you know that to be true. And most of us spend more time planning a weekend away than we do planning our lives. Most of us spend much more time planning that week vacation and day vacation than we sit down and actually design a blueprint for our life. Not you. You've invested 3 days here designing, creating a blueprint for your life. Highly successful people begin with the end in mind. They know where they're going. And because they know where they're going, they see different opportunities and ideas and resources. I like to think about it as imagine you're holding a flashlight. It's really dark outside and you're walking alone. You're holding your flashlight. You've got a destination in mind. And so you point that flashlight where you want to go. And pretty soon, I live on an acreage. If you've ever walked outside at night by yourself, pretty soon you're pointing where you want to go. And you hear a little rustling beside you. Where does the flashlight go? Over here. And so then maybe you start walking a little bit faster, but now your flashlight is moving all around looking for things. And then pretty soon you hear maybe footsteps behind you and your imagination has started to go crazy and you're turning around and all of a sudden your flashlight is pointing everywhere. Has anybody ever had that experience or you can imagine having that experience? In the absence of having a blueprint and a destination and something to lock our attention on, our lives are going somewhere like that. Somebody calls us and says, hey, I need you over here. And we go over there. We start moving towards a vision. And then our past starts to knock on the door and say, hey, you tried that before and it didn't work. Or we point our flashlight in the direction of a vision and we start moving forward. And then all of a sudden we hear the little voice on the other side that says, who do you think you are? You can't do this. And pretty soon we're just living by default. Somebody else has taken over that flashlight and it's pointing at where they think we should go. In the absence of having a blueprint and a vision and a goal and something you're a dream that you're excited about, that you're locked into, life will take over and we'll begin to live. I want to share a story about Lisa who came into an event just like this. And she said, Stacey, I don't have a dream. I can't dream. And she grew up in a household where it was not okay to dream. You go to school, you get a job, you work hard, you retire, and this is the way life is. And for some of you, you grew up and you've never been asked the question, what would you really want? What is your dream? And we're doing this exercise. So I don't know. And she's crying. And I said, well, let's just start with something. Say, start with what you do know. When I left my corporate career, I had no idea what that was going to look like. I knew a few things though. I knew I wanted to make an impact. I knew I wanted growth opportunities where I would be growing in a position. And I knew I wanted time freedom in a way that I would be there for my kids. That's all I knew. Start with what you do know. And as I'm working with Lisa and I'm asking her, well, tell me one thing. She says, well, I always wanted to find love. I always wanted to find my person. But I'm 50 now and my life is over. Too late. Then, well, what if you could? Well, that would be amazing. Well, tell me more. What would you like in that relationship? Well, it would be so nice to have somebody to come home to and complain with about the day. Great. You have a dream. Start with what you know. Well, I always wanted to find love. And she started to come alive with this dream of finding love. And what if you weren't complaining about the day? What if you were celebrating your day? Well, Stacey, people don't do that. Life is hard and work is hard. We start with what we do. And she that day came alive with a dream of finding the love of her life. She was working 3 jobs. She was exhausted, barely making it by. And at the end of the day, she had a dream. We did some work together and she started to build her belief around her dream. Today, she's married to the love of her life and her best friend, and they're traveling the world and she's living in a home that she loves. But it starts with a dream. You all have a history. We all have a history, but we are not that history. We are not that history. And here's the thing, your history does not determine your future without your permission. Doesn't really matter how long it's been. With transformational willingness, we can lay down a new pattern. You are capable of dreaming. Lisa didn't think she was capable of dreaming. You were capable of dreaming. Some of you have been told, I don't have an imagination. I can't dream. I'm not creative. We all have a perfect imagination. Imagine for a moment you wonder if somebody very, very close to you was meant to be home at 6 o'clock p.m. and now it's 10 p.m. and you can't get a hold of them. Your imagination works just fine. We're going to use our imagination for good today in service of a life that we would love.